So there, I don't know where I'm at. So there is something very interesting I came across in another one of Erich Von Daniken's books, The Gods Never Left Us, that I finished reading a couple days ago. I also have this one, War of the Gods, that I'm reading now. The Gods Never Left Us is titled, subtitled, the long-awaited sequel to the worldwide bestseller, The Chariots of the Gods. I actually just recently watched Chariots of the Gods, the movie, and realized that I had actually seen that some years ago. It actually came out in 1970. Of course, I wasn't born until 1977, so I didn't see it until sometime in the 80s, or at least part of it. I remember when I saw it, I think it was yesterday or the day before, feeling the feeling that I had when I first saw it, that this is stupid. What is this? Because I barely got past the beginning of it, where they had the primitive looking, people in there that were very close to ape-like people in the beginning. I don't know why, but something about it I wasn't really into, so I don't remember watching it. It just seemed kind of stupid to me at the time. But I watched it. I'm glad that I did. Eventually, I'll probably get Chariots of the Gods and look at it for myself. I haven't yet. But so War of the Gods, interesting, these names, right? Different author. I've got Gods of Eden, William Branley, which is another good one. I actually stopped reading this to get into when I saw War of the Gods, which is 2020, I believe that one is, and The Gods Never Left Us is 2018. There was something in The Gods Never Left Us that stuck out to me. I wrote some notes about it. I don't exactly remember what page it is in here. This book, I haven't done any highlighting at all, but I did write some notes in this notebook. I got this cool notebook. It's starting to rub off some of the foil on there, but when I was doing a gig down in Key Biscayne or Key Largo, I forget what it was, doing some art department stuff, some props for an event, and it was for this company, and they had these cool notebooks down there, really nice. I got two of them. But I wrote, so in The Gods Never Left Us, Erich Von Daniken mentions a guy named Mauro Biglino, and how somewhere in there he mentions that the angels can be considered as persons or beings, and the cherubim can be considered machines. And I thought, you know what? I have enough information and some stuff dealing with angels that I could do a little cross-referencing and look at some of the characteristics that are attributed to at least what are called angels and cherubim, and see if some of that adds up in some way. Because there's an order of beings that are called angels, as opposed to archangels, as opposed to seraphs, as opposed to orders, powers, principalities, different things like that. And so I could probably look at some of those things. I have them mostly. I have a book about a dictionary of angels, and including the fallen angels, and then I also have angel tarot, and then I have the tarot, the heaven and hell tarot, and they have characteristics of the angels, and they have them also separated and categorized into, they have a whole section of angels, and then they have cherubim. So I thought it would be interesting to look at that. And I remember which side of the book it was on, a page that was on the left, and it was near the bottom, which I saw this guy Mauro Biglino's was mentioned in the book. So I'm just kind of see if I can and I remember somewhat where it was on the page here. And if I can find it quickly, I'll look through that. But really, so the whole point of this here, and I haven't really thought of a title for it yet, is I'm going to just check and see if, if there are more machine-like characteristics attributed to the cherubim in the cards and in the book, and then if there seem to be more being-like or individuals, like personalities, characteristics given to what we would normally call just the regular angels. And I think I might be past it now in this color section of the book, but with the color images, see if I can find out more of what he says. Oh wait, I think I might have come across it. Nope, that's Dr. Marie. Same thing. I know it wasn't there. But that would be an interesting thing, right? To see if that has any. And it's a cool and interesting, trail of evidence to follow. Just to see what, because the whole thing about the ancient astronaut theory, ancient astronaut hypothesis, all of that stuff is, that these were different beings, and it would help to put some perspective on when certain things are being described as either cherubim or just plain angels, right, in the Bible. And remember, the angels, according to this Mauro Biglino, the angels are beings, and the cherubim can be considered to be machines. So I am going to set this down for now and grab the cards and the book and see if we can find anything that matches up, and then maybe later I'll come back and see where in here he specifically references Mauro Biglino, because it's only a few pages in here, and then he talks about the angels as beings and found it. It's on page 158. So let's see. It says, let's see, where does he first mention Mauro Biglino? All right. Well, I think he might be on this other page first, but let's take a look. So he says, there are in our time increasing numbers of books by authors who can read the book of books in various languages and who correctly analyze the nonsense that has been interpreted into the Old Testament. Thus, Walter Jorg Langbaine, theologian and comrade in arms from the beginning, picks apart Holy Scriptures and uncovers the various original sources that were raided to make the Bible. His analyses appear to have provoked as little interest as the work of Mauro Biglino, who fluently reads Hebrew and knows all the links to the Aramaic and Semitic roots. In Mauro Biglino, it becomes clear that angels were nothing other than extraterrestrials, and that there is a crucial difference between angels and cherubim. And it's in quotes, it says, while angels are persons, cherubim are machines. Every Bible reader is left with the belief that a single great God has been at work in the Old Testament. Nothing of the kind is true. All right, the reference is always to the Elohim, the gods in plural. All right, so that's where I'm going to chase up here. So to Mauro Biglino, it becomes clear that angels were nothing other than extraterrestrials, and that there is a crucial difference between angels and cherubim. Okay, well, let's bust out the backpack. Got this from Barnes & Noble. These backpacks are amazing. I have two of them. Fjallraven Kanken. Bought at some Barnes & Nobles. I forget which Barnes & Nobles I bought these at. but because I've been to a lot of them, so and I'm gonna pull out. I've used this bag to put certain things in. My most recent deck that I got is the Oracle of Heaven and Hell. So this will have a bunch of the angels and cherubims, and this creator Travis McHenry, he has the different divisions of the cherubim and stuff like that. And then this is the first one I got of his last year sometime, the Angel Tarot. So this also has that information in there. And then this book I've had for many, many years is a dictionary of angels by Gustav Davidson, including the fallen angels. This is a much older book that I only got some years ago. It's actually 1967 is when this was copywritten. This is the only edition of it. So 1967, and I have this. This is a newer one of this I got, but I have another one of these in my storage, my library in California. And as you can see, this book has all kinds of other stuff in there. So I've got some good stuff, but I'm not going to I don't want to get sidetracked right now from that. So let's see if some of these. So first, let's take a look in here just really quickly at the a dictionary of angels, including the fallen angels, and let me see if I can find a definition of cherubim, and see if there's anything machine-like. Actually, right now I opened it up and it automatically went to A, and to the word angels. So I'm gonna start here at angels and see what we have here. Okay. So I went a little further forward, but let's just see what, there's a lot of angels in here. Okay, so where does angel first start? We got Anfield angel. Okay, so we got angel, and then I'll grab and see if there's cherubim in here, and there you go. Hey, look, that right away. Got right away to cherubim. Okay, so angel and cherubim. So angel, this definition is long. So remember, the angels are beings, and cherubim are machines, according to Mauro Biglino. On page 158, I believe it was, right? That's what I said earlier. 158. Yep. Becomes clear that angels were nothing other than extraterrestrials. Crucial difference between angels and cherubim. Angels are persons, cherubim are machines. I put beings. Angels are beings and cherubim are machines, but he says persons. Okay, and that would make sense if we go along with the ancient astronaut theory that as Billy Carson says, that they were flesh and blood creatures, they were people, and so they're persons. All right, now let's see what it says Gustav Davidson has written about angels. Let me put a little mark here to hold this spot. Don't I have a bookmark in here somewhere? Oh, I know I have. Oh. This other handy case that I have with a bunch of other gear. I know I have something I can use as a bookmark. Oh, look, I actually have a bookmark, Barnes & Noble. Okay, so I've got one in there. All right. So in this book, he says, all right. So angel, Hebrew, malach. The word derives from angiras, Sanskrit, a divine spirit, from the Persian angaros, a courier, from the Greek angelos, meaning a messenger. In Arabic, the word is malak, a Jewish loan word. You know, I like, I'm going to geek out a little bit. Is there more light? Hold on. So I like this idea of loan words having worked in language teaching and things like that. Loan words are words that other languages take when they don't have a word for something. So when I lived in China for 5 years, for example, in Chinese they don't have a word because coffee was imported to China. It's not native to China, right? So for example, coffee. They say cafe, which is interesting. In every other language, that's how you pronounce it. We say coffee, and most other languages like Spanish, cafe, Portuguese, cafe, French, cafe, Italian, cafe, and so Chinese, cafe is a loan word. So that's what a loan word is. When a language doesn't have a word, they borrow it. So in Arabic, the word is malak, a Jewish loan word, and so Hebrew is malach, which because I think it would be pronounced that way because it's spelled here malakh with that h at the end, whereas in the Arabic it doesn't have the h at the end. Okay, so malak in Arabic, the word is malak, a Jewish loan word. In popular usage, an angel denotes generally a supernatural being intermediate between God and man. The Greek daimon, D-A-I-M-O-N, being a closer approximation to our notion of angel than angelos. In early Christian and pre-Christian days, the term angel and daemon, or demon, were interchangeable, as in the writings of Paul and John. Interesting. The Hebrews drew their idea of angels from the Persians and from the Babylonians during the captivity. Interesting, right? Because this is all about these ancient astronaut theories go a lot back to Babylon, Sumer, Mesopotamia, and the Anunnaki, right? Or also sometimes known as Elohim to some. Okay, so the Hebrews drew their idea of angels from the Persians and from the Babylonians during the captivity. Captivity is in capital letters. Now they've nounified captivity, made it a whole event. The two named angels in the, by the way, I know nounified is not a word, or is it? Not one that I've heard of before. See, I'm a little bit neurotic here. Nounified. It put 95. That's hilarious. And it comes with the bona fide. No, I'm trying to type in nounified. I know it's not a word, but it's just kind of fun to look and see. Nounify. Oh, what? What's in the Wiktionary? What? Nounify. Nounify, third person singular, simple present nounifies, present participle nounifying, simple past and present participle nounified. Rare, to turn into a noun. Okay. Sometimes you think you make up a word and it's to turn into a noun. Okay, well, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, hey, those medical terminology classes that showed me how to put together words from Greek and Latin, it pays off a little bit. It starts to come intuitively. All right, so nounify is a word. Okay, so the captivity was nounified. Okay, so the two named angels in the Old Testament, Michael and Gabriel, were in fact lifted from Babylonian mythology. Wow, this book is more informative about the... I'm impressed. I mean, 1972? 67. Why do I keep thinking 72? 1967. Gustav Davidson. Oh. I mean, you know, the Times of London says on the front cover, magnificently informative, offers endless delight to all seekers of wisdom and pleasure. Oh, I'm starting to see that now. By the way, this is where I first encountered the name of the word Nurgle, the name Nurgle in a book, as Nurgle, the name was called out to me 3 times one day in California, and I didn't know what it was, but it stuck with me because it was so startling. And then I got a copy of this book, and this was around 2008, 2009, somewhere around there, and then as I was looking through the book, it's in alphabetical order. Nurgle came out, And so, but I'll get to that another time. I used AI to put together a book partially with my experiences, and then just some basic history, some basic books, basic information about Babylonian, Mesopotamian information about Nergal, and also used it to put a book on Amazon as part of my practice series. I have now 13 books on there. One of them that was a complete fail. There's a video on here about that one. It's this here, Excommunicado, which I have to completely redo now because it came out terribly. Just information is missing from it, so was a big disappointment. But anyway, but yeah, I had an interesting encounter with Nergal, which is interesting because I had no idea what it was, and it is another tie that I have way back to this Mesopotamian, Babylonian. So it's very interesting. So it's interesting that in this book here, that he says that the two named angels in the Old Testament, Michael and Gabriel, were in fact lifted from Babylonian mythology. And this is what the interesting thing about that being said is, because that's one of the things that a lot of the researchers like Erich Von Daniken, the gods never left us, that William Bramley, Gods of Eden, and even Billy Carson, who's been a big inspiration lately on the internet. I've been seeing his stuff since maybe late last year, early this year, 2024, that they're talking about. You got to go further back in history to the oldest writings, and you'll see that a lot of the stories that are in the Christian Bible actually come from these older writings and these older texts. So the two named angels in the Old Testament, Michael and Gabriel, were in fact lifted from Babylonian mythology. The third named angel, Raphael, appears in the apocryphal book of Tobit. This whole doctrine concerning angels, says Sales or Salas in his edition of the Quran Preliminary Discourse, this whole doctrine concerning angels, says Sales in his edition of the Quran Preliminary Discourse, page 51, Muhammad and his disciples borrowed from the Jews, who borrowed the names and offices of these beings from the Persians. While Enoch... oh, wait. We got Enochian Dictionary and... Oi, oi, oi. Oh man, it's going to be one of these. I actually saw that this is the copy that, one of the copies that Mr. Billy Carson has on his videos. So let's see, okay. While Enoch, in his writings dating back to earliest Christian times and even before, names many angels and demons. These were ignored in New Testament Gospels, although they began to appear in contemporaneous extra-canonical works. They had a vogue in Jewish Gnostic, mystic, and Kabbalistic tracts. Angelology came into full flower in the 11th through 13th centuries, when the names of literally thousands upon thousands of angels appeared, many of them created through the juggling of letters of the Hebrew alphabet, or by the simple device of adding the suffix "l" to any word which lent itself to such manipulation. An angel, though immaterial, that is, bodiless, is usually depicted as having a body or inhabiting a body, pro tem, and as winged and clothed. Pro tem, does that mean temporary? Pro tem. Pro tem. What is the meaning of pro tem? Not protein.
For the time being, according to vocabulary.com, pro tem is short for the Latin phrase pro tempore, for the time being.
Yeah, Makes sense. Okay, that's what I thought. Good. So, inhabiting a body, protem, and as winged and clothed. If an angel is in the service of the devil, he is a fallen angel or a demon. To Philo, in his On Dreams, angels were incorporeal intelligences. He held that the rabbis, on the contrary, thought of angels as material beings. That's interesting if we're going to go to the extraterrestrial route, right? So that the rabbis thought of angels as material beings, and being closer. Some of these were borrowed from the earlier rabbinical teachings, and then before that Persians, right? So to Philo in his On Dreams, angels were incorporeal intelligences. He held that the rabbis, on the contrary, thought of angels as material beings. In Roman Catholic theology, angels were created in the earliest days of creation, or even before creation, tota simul, that is, at one and the same time. Tota simul. No. Oh boy, what is going on here? Can I type or what?
For the time being.
No, we already got that one. Tota. I mean, I know that it says that is at one and the same time. Okay, it doesn't have anything in there, but that is at one and the same time. In Jewish tradition, angels are new every morning. That comes from Lamentations 3:23, and continue to be formed with every breath God takes. Hagiga 14a. In the pseudo-Dionysian scheme, with its 9 heavenly choirs, angels, as an order, rank lower in the scale of hierarchy, the seraphim ranking highest. The archangels show up 8th in the sequence, despite the fact that the greatest angels are often referred to as archangels. Strictly speaking, when one refers to the named angels in the Bible, it is correct to say there are only 2 or 3, but the following may be considered: Abaddon, Apollyon, mentioned in Revelation as the angel of the bottomless pit; Wormwood, referred to as a star, Revelation 8:11, but to be understood as an angel. Wormwood referred to as a star, Revelation 8:11, but to be understood as an angel. And there is Satan, who in the Old Testament is a great angel, one of the most glorious, certainly not evil, and with no hint of his having fallen. He goes by his title of adversary, Ha-Satan. Ha-Satan. It is only in Christian and post-biblical Jewish writings that Ha-Satan of the Old Testament is turned into an evil spirit. A case for including Rahab among the named angels of the Bible might also be made. Talmud refers to Rahab as angel of the sea. Interesting, right? So we see that this is a good book. I'm glad I have it. So that he was turned into an evil spirit. Is turned into, okay? So only in Christian and post-biblical Jewish writings that Ha-Satan of the Old Testament is turned into an evil spirit. A case for 21. Okay, interesting. All right. So we have something here that shows that angels, and I haven't even gotten to the cards yet. Remember, I haven't even gotten to the angel tarot to look at some more of the details of them, or this heaven and hell deck, and I have another book that's just all the demon tarot, but I don't think I need to get into that right now. Okay, so let's look at cherubim. Are they in these descriptions in just this book, do they have any more machine-like characteristics, even though all the pictures I'm here so far are showing them looking kind of like babies? And there's a lot. I'll do my best to get through this quickly. It starts here, and then it goes all here about cherubim, and then all on this page and ends right there. So let's get to some cherubim. All right. Cherubs. Oh, well, Oh, good. Well, yeah, cherubim. Okay. All right. Cherubim or cherubim. In name as well as in concept, the cherubim are Assyrian or Akkadian in origin. Wow. You see what happens when you, man, Billy Carson, dude. That guy, him and, Erich Von Daniken, Erich Dekend, Zachariah Sitchin. They're really some pioneers, man. I mean, if I have the dictionary, but it doesn't start to make these connections until now all this other stuff is coming out. But here it is right here. I mean, it's not, it's right, it's in plain sight if you just look at it. All of that stuff, Akkadian, right? That's back in Mesopotamia. Assyrian, it's back in Mesopotamia. Sumerian. All right. Okay, so cherubim, in name as well as in concept, the cherubim are Assyrian or Akkadian in origin. The word in Akkadian is karibu and means one who prays or one who intercedes. Although Dionysius declared the word to mean knowledge, in ancient Assyrian art, the cherubim were pictured as huge winged creatures with leonine or human faces, bodies of bulls or sphinxes, eagles, etc. They were usually placed at entrances to palaces or temples as guardian spirits. In early Canaanitish lore, the cherubim were not conceived of as angels. Okay. The CF view of Theodorus, Bishop of Heraclea, who declared these cherubims not to be any angelical powers, but rather some horrible visions of beasts, which might terrific Adam from the which might terrify. It's in the original Old English there. That E looked like a C to me if I wasn't looking closely enough. Which might terrify Adam from the entrance of paradise. It's spelled F-I-E instead of F-Y at the end. Terrify, that's one of the older English ways of saying that. Okay, so now this is some hint to me, in my mind right now, a clue to that this, Mauro Biglino was onto something about that the cherubim were machines, and the angels, so far the descriptions, right, that the angels are persons, and now I'm looking at it seems like it's right that these the cherubim are machines. Okay, so let's continue. So these cherubim not to be any angelical powers, but rather some horrible visions of beasts, which might terrify Adam from the entrance of paradise, from Salkeld, a treatise of angels. It was only later that the cherubim began to be regarded as heavenly spirits. To Philo, on the cherubim, they symbolized God's highest and chiefest potencies, sovereignty, and goodness. They are the first angels to be mentioned and to be construed as angels in the Old Testament, Genesis 3:22. 3:22. There's that number again. All right. They guarded with flaming sword the tree of life and Eden, hence their designation as the flame of whirling swords. In Exodus 25:18, we find two cherubim of gold, one on either side of the ark. See Picturization and Schaff, a dictionary of the Bible. Cf. Cherubim of glory shadowing the mercy seat in Hebrews 9:5. In Ezekiel 10:14, four cherubim, each with four faces and four wings, appear at the river Chebar, where the Hebrew prophet glimpses them. In 1 Kings 6:23, the two cherubim in Solomon's temple are carved out of olive wood. Okay, so another thing, they're carved out of olive wood, more machine, right? They're carved out of olive wood. And again, I may be forcing those characteristics because because of Mauro Biglino's, I'm looking at it, I'm already looking for it to be machine. So of course this could be my confirmation bias, right? In my mind, that's what I'm looking for, to see that. So, so the two cherubim in Solomon's temple are carved out of olive wood. In rabbinic and occult lore, the cherubim are prevailingly thought of as charioteers of God, bearers of his throne, and personifications of the winds. Okay, so now that's interesting here. What makes me think more now is a connection to machines, because when you read some of the stories, the ancient astronaut stories, the Anunnaki, when you look at the pictures of the Vimanas and things like that in the ancient cultures over and over again, they talk about the thrones that the gods or the angels are sitting on when they're taken into these spaceships, but they get seated upon these thrones. So that's another connection I'm piecing together myself there. So, but then it has something different to say here. So in rabbinic and occult lore, the cherubim are prevailingly thought of as charioteers of God, bearers of his throne. They hold the throne, and personifications of the winds. Okay, now, next, in Revelations 4:8, they are living creatures who render unceasing praise to their Maker. Here, St. John refers to them as beasts, holy, divine beasts, 6-winged and full of eyes within. Connections, full of eyes within, screens, right? Full of eyes within. That's interesting, right? If you were inside a ship, all the screens and displays that see things around them, like cameras and readouts and displays. If your mind has been turned to that way as mine has, to look at those things like that, that's the connections I put together, right? Because it's interesting to word it that way. Full of eyes within. John of Damascus, in his exposition of the Orthodox faith, also speaks of the cherubim as many-eyed. In Talmud, the cherubim are equated with the order Ophanim, wheels or chariots, more machines, or the order Heoth, holy beasts, who are said to reside in the 6th or 7th heaven. In the Dionysian scheme, the cherubim rank second in the 9-choir hierarchy and are guardians of the fixed stars. Chief rulers, as listed in most occult works, include Ophaniel, Rikbiel, Cherubiel, Raphael, Gabriel, Zophiel, and, before his fall, Satan, who was, as Parente says in The Angels, the supreme angel in the choir of cherubim. In the early traditions of Muslim lore, it is claimed that the cherubim were forced from the tears Michael shed over the sins of the faithful. Reference Hastings, Encyclopedia of Religion and Ethics, 4616, Demons and Spirits, Muslim. In secular lore, the cherubim have been called black cherubim, Dante, young-eyed cherubim, Shakespeare, helmed cherubim, Milton. Blake describes Satan as the covering cherub, and turns the Ezekiel version of the 4 creatures into his own 4 zoas. The latter sound the 4 trumpets heralding the apocalypse. As angels of light, glory, and keepers of the celestial records, the cherubim excel in knowledge. Reference Lindsay, Cherubim in Semitic Religion and Art. The notion of winged, multiple-headed beasts serving as guardians of temples and places must have been general in many Near Eastern countries, for in addition to appearing in Assyrian, Chaldean, Babylonian art and writings, where the authors of Isaiah and Ezekiel doubtlessly first came upon them, they appear, as already noted, in Canaanitish lore with which the Israelites were, of course, familiar and which influenced or colored the accounts in Genesis and other Old Testament books. See, this is again, wow, this stuff is right here. I could probably just look at this book and get up on some really good information, because I mean, he's not pulling back. This is some real research. He just says it right there. He's like, the author, Gustav Davidson, said, the notion of winged multiple-headed beasts serving as guardians of temples and places must have been general in many Near Eastern countries, for in addition to appearing in Assyrian, Chaldean, Babylonian art and writings, where the authors of Isaiah and Ezekiel doubtlessly first came upon them. They appear, as already noted, in Canaanitish lore with which the Israelites were, of course, familiar and which influenced or colored accounts in Genesis and other Old Testament books. And ivory from the collection of a king of Megiddo, circa 1200 BCE, reproduced on page 45 of the Westminster Historical Atlas to the Bible, shows a Canaanite ruler seated on a throne supported by winged lions with human heads. These, say the editors of the Atlas, are the imaginary composite beings which the Israelites called cherubim. Composite. I mean, I know that means putting together, but you say an imaginary, but they could very well be representatives of machines. As winged beasts with human heads, 2 cherubim are shown supporting the throne of Hiram, king of ancient Byblos. See reproduction page 132, volume A through D of Interpreter's Dictionary of the Bible. Among works of more modern times, Rubens' Apotheosis of James I, hanging in the banqueting hall of Whitehall in London and filling the long side panels, shows a procession of cherubs. And then this one picture I have here is for the French Baroque musical Cherubim altarpiece hanging at Champagne in Savoy from Horizon, November 1960. Interesting. All right, so that's what we got so far. So I think that is something pointing to confirming what this Mauro Biglino has said, that the angels are more like persons and the cherubim machines. Okay, I have a mess of books over here. I'll put this down for now, and I'll just be going for a few more minutes and see if there are anything that shows characteristics. So look here at the Angel Tarot, which Travis McHenry has a wonderful book. Nice. And it's got all the angels and their characteristics here, and he tells us where he actually gets his information from. He says, according to the secret doctrine of Cornelius Agrippa, every mortal born on earth has 3 guardian angels. Okay, so Agrippa's occult philosophy is rooted in the sacred Kabbalah, or secret tradition of Israel, which postulates that the powers of the 72 angels of the Shemham Forash are distributed throughout the times, days, and seasons. It is from this source that we obtain knowledge of their names, attributes, and mysteries. And from the book before, it showed that hey, how you doing? It's Hershey. Let's say hi. Hershey, how you doing, buddy? Hershey came to visit me. All right. What's up? What do you need? Are you trying to go outside? Hershey? Oh boy. Hold on for a sec. All right. Better not be making a whole bunch of noise out there, Hershey. If I hear you barking, I'm gonna come and get you. All right. Might just come scratch at the door in a moment. See, makes me wonder if he really loves me. If he just came to get let outside. All right. Okay. So we're gonna look here. So Travis McHenry. So he talks about Cornelius Agrippa from the Kabbalah, that we obtain the knowledge of their names, attributes, and mysteries. But here we have the hierarchy of angels, and the first ones are the seraphim. Then we have the cherubim. So seraphim and cherubim are right there, right? Seraphim and cherubim, and then the next page we have thrones, dominions, and these virtues, right? And then we have the powers, and then we have Colossians, and then principalities. I think, is there anything more in here? Yeah, then we have the archangels, and then angels. So the angels are last here, and the cherubim are second. So now, is that right? And when I was reading in that book, let me see: seraphim 1, cherubim 2, thrones 3, dominions 4, virtues 5, power 6, Colossians. I'm not sure if I'm gonna count that, but 8, principalities 9, and archangels 10 by this count. Even if I were to take out Colossians, then principalities would be 8 and archangels 9. I think in that book he said the archangels were 8th in order, but whatever. Okay, so let's see if these angels versus cherubim have any, are more person-like or more machine-like. So angels. So this book here, Travis McHenry says, angels are the messengers of divine light who descended from the heavens to minister to mortals. Again, they descended, came down, right, from space. We're talking about some ancient astronaut stuff here, right? Descend from the heavens to minister to mortals. They have diverse powers and roles, and some are given specific tasks. They are capable of performing great miracles and unleashing tremendous destruction. And there's a quote from Matthew here that says, "And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven. His countenance was like lightning, and his raiment white as snow. Mary had a little lamb as sweet as white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake, and became as dead men. The angel said unto the women, Fear not, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified." Okay, and let's see what it says about the cherubim. The cherubs guard the Garden of Eden and escort the throne of God. So that's consistent with what I was reading, the bearers of the throne, right? The cherubs guard the Garden of Eden and escort the throne of God. Ezekiel 1:5-6. Out of the midst there came the likeness of 4 living creatures, and this was their appearance. They had the likeness of a man, and every one had 4 faces, and every one had 4 wings. So that's also what was mentioned in the Gustav Davidson text. Okay, so now let me see if I find, let me just pull out some angels in here. Is it going to say what category they're in? Okay, well, I'm going to have to look in. Oh, these cards are cool, right? They have nice gold foil. But I wonder what, because I know in the book, not so much on the cards, it says what their hierarchy is. So I can go in here and start looking at these angels, and it'll tell me where they have, what category they're in. So we'll start. There's all kind of stuff in here. There's conjuration of the angelic spirits, the grand pentacle of Solomon, summoning and releasing angelic spirits, opening freaking portals to alien freaking stargates. Alright. Man, they've got Celtic cross divination, evocation. Let's get to the angels. Alright, so the first one here we have is the Archangel Michael, who is like God. So they show 6 archangels. Okay. So now we have 72 angels. Okay, and now they say on here in the book, it shows where they are. Seraphim, right? These are seraphim. And seraphim. Okay, so the seraphim are here first. I wonder if the next group will be the cherubim. Yeah, okay, so they got them in the order that they have them in this book. Okay, all right. Interesting. Okay, so now we've got some cherubims. Good, we got some to work with here. Now I got an order, so I know that then if that's going to go that way, then at the back of the book should be the angels. Hey, what's up? So that means that we should have a good way to compare and see if Mr. Mauro Biglino actually has it as correct as far as the ancient astronaut theory goes, that the angels are the beings, so those are the aliens that came here, and the cherubim are machines. And so far we have evidence from these Kabbalistic angels and also from the dictionary of angels, some evidence that shows, especially when they're being considered to be the bearers of the throne, and they have wheels and all these eyes and all these different wings, and also being compared to beasts, right? So they're more being considered as beasts, having many eyes and wings, so, and some being carved out of a certain wood. So they definitely seem to be more like the machines, like especially if they're the charioteers, so, and the throne bearers of the throne. So a chariot, right, has a seat inside of it, like these different rocket ships and everything like that. That some of these people considered that these gods and angels were sitting in thrones. So this makes sense that at least to me in my mind now, that what we're looking at here is that the cherubs are actually machines. Either, you know, you have a mothership and then you have the smaller different drones, or the smaller scout ships as they're called, that come down. So the angels are in the scout ships and the cherubs are the vehicles or the machines. So let's see how much we can find about that. So let's look at the angels first. It's in the back, and the first angel I'm looking at here is Damabaya, and then on the next page we have Manakel, and let's see what we have here about them. So this is Damabaya, or Damabia is what it says here, God, the source of wisdom. And there's a verse here, it says, "Return, O Lord, how long, and let it repent thee concerning thy servants." Now, let's see. Expedition is discoveries, protects against magic spells, physical guardian. Okay, so let's see if I can pull out these, if there's anything more machine-like on their depictions, because some of these drawings look like they're older drawings, just like, so I'm going to find Damabia and see what we have here. Okay, wow, this is fun. Alright, so, I mean, because in the book it has, you know, the picture, but it's smaller. So maybe at least if I'm able to pull it out on the, there we go. So there's Damabia, and it's a cherub, but look what it has. There's some kind of, I don't know what the heck that is. What is that thing? It's like a gyroscopic piece of equipment. And there's some maps there. Interesting, huh? Okay, so that's one, and there's a machine on there. Let's take a look and see what this other one is. Manakel, God nurturing and maintaining everything. Angels, Psalm 38:21. Forsake me not, O Lord, O my God, be not far from me. I don't see anything machine-like on there, and I may have passed Monakel already, but I'm going to put them into categories. And you know what? This is just like a little. This is just me doing. I never looked at it this way before. This is my first time. So here we have Monakel, God nurturing and maintaining everything. I don't see too much machine stuff there. It says knowledge of good and evil, appeases divine anger, cures epilepsy, and that's Monakel right there. So, okay, so those are two of those angels. Okay, let's go to some cherubim again. So I'm going to go back and forth, and let's look at the first two cherubim here now that are going to be in here. So seraphim, cherubim. So the first cherubim we have here is one named Haziel, right? And Haziel, the merciful God, Psalm 23 or Psalm 25:6. Remember, O Lord, thy tender mercies and thy loving kindnesses, for they have been ever of old. Okay, so let's see Haziel. And once I'm done with these, I want to see if there's more leaning towards, if more of the cards dealing with the angels are, and I made a big mistake here too. Damabia, that's an angel, so that should be more persons. And the ones I'm looking at now, the cherubim, should be more seen like. So see when you get something in your head. All right, so Haziel, we're looking at Haziel, and we're going to see, I didn't see anything on Haziel looking more machine-like. But let's see what we find. These are cool, and I never really got to play. I really got these cards more. A lot of this stuff is in my resources. I have a whole backpack full of all of this tarot, and there we go. There's Haziel. Okay, so Haziel. Well, we definitely see that there are 3 pairs of wings at least, and then there are 4 different heads. So there's Haziel. We've got looks like a lion's head there, right? Got a human's head. That's like some kind of bird, like an eagle, and that looks like a bull or a cow, right? And then we've got 1, 2, 3 pairs of wings. Right, so there's 6 wings altogether, and these are covering up the bottom right there. Yeah, my nail got busted up working in a prop house in Miami, and it just grew back. But yeah, we got looks like a person, but it has these many heads and all these different wings. Okay, so that's kind of in line with what they talk about cherubim having many wings and all that stuff like that. So let's look at the next cherub, and it is Aladiah or Aladia. How does the pronunciation? Aladia right there. And the favorable God, Psalm 33:22. Let thy mercy, O Lord, be upon us, according as we hope in thee. Okay, so Aladiah, I don't know if I passed it already in that first stack, but I'll get to it if I didn't. And we'll see more up close what Aladiah has. Okay, so this is a little bit of a longer video, but that's okay. This is me. I'm doing, live research here, and this is just the first in this little series of looking at, because I thought that was a very interesting thing that I could, find some verification of if I looked at the resources that I had with angels, and so far it's proving to be interesting, right? And I have to be careful to acknowledge my confirmation bias, which I did. I'm being transparent about that I, in my mind, was thinking machines and angels, and because I saw this devices and stuff like that Damabia had, I was like, oh, maybe machine, da da da. But the angels, Damabia is supposed to be in the order of angels, right? The hierarchy is angels. So these should be more person-like, whereas the cherubim should be more machine-like. So Aladia, this is crazy how it's like it's gonna be like somewhere in the last ones here. Did I miss it? I couldn't have. There we go. It's like third to last. Okay, third to last. Oh boy, let's drop everything. Okay. Alright, so Aladia, this is a cherubim. It's supposed to be more machine-like. That's interesting what it got there, right? The favorable God, and its divine grace cures rage and pestilence, absolves the guilty, and it's got some kind of pillow there. It's got only one pair of wings, and it's got some rings of some kind on that pillow. So far, these are the two cherubim that I got, and I got two angels. Let's go back to angels and the back here and see what we got. So angels are the last ones, and so far we got Damabia and Manakel. Now we're going to go to Ayael, or Ail. Ail is God, the pleasure of man's children. Angels, Psalm 37:4. Delight thyself also in the Lord, and he shall give thee the desires of thine heart. I don't care much for that, but now Ayael is supposed to be an angel, so more person. And let's see if we have Ayael. We can find Ayael in these cards. Ayael. I'm just going to look at some of these pictures here. And at this point in time, I'm just kind of searching because I didn't plan this ahead, but since I don't use these cards that much, I am going to set these angels and cherubim aside for another video that I do where I can be more focused. Right now, this is like some preliminary, just looking because it just came to mind when I was reading that book, and it just seemed like, again, that's something that I could find. There we go with Ayael. Okay, so this is an angel, more supposed to be a person. And I don't know if you noticed down here at the bottom, but they got the seals and all other stuff, which, you know what, I'm gonna start looking at these because I have this Enochian dictionary, and I remember somewhere looking and seeing that that some of these things could be looked at like circuits and like diagrams. So I wonder if there's like power sources and stuff like that for the cherubim, like if they would actually be like, you know, if you can. But we'll see what's in there and stuff so far. Okay, so we got Ayael transformation gives consolation in adversity, and so angels, right? Supposed to be more person-like. Does have some wings, and all right. And so the next angel is Habuhia. God the kindest giver. Psalm 106:1. Praise ye the Lord, O give thanks unto the Lord, for he is good, for his mercy endeth or endureth forever. I'm gonna let the Hershey back in. Hershey, come on in. Hershey, he's fun, hilarious. All right. Okay. All right. So I was looking for Habuhia, and I started getting a little dry throat. Habuhia. As if I'm saying that name. Habuhia, with all those H's, all those breathy consonants. And there we go. Habuhia, another angel, the kindest, God, the kindest giver, preserves health and cures diseases. There's Habuhia. And perhaps in watching this, when you watch it, whenever you see this, and when I look at it later, or do some other comparisons, some things about the images may pop up that that is more revealing. So let's go to the second set of cherubim and see now, since I'm on this trip, gotta follow through. So after Aladia, we got Lauvia, the exalted God, Psalm 1847. And it says, the Lord liveth and what the hell? The Lord liveth, and blessed be any rock. Oh, blessed be my rock. And let the God of my salvation be exalted. All right. And then I'm going to just look at the other one and then fish them both out at the same time. So we have Hahaya, the refuge of God, so Cherubim 10, Psalm 10:1. Why standest thou afar off, O Lord? Why hidest thou thyself in times of trouble? Okay, so Lauvia and Hahaya. Lauvia and Hahaya, okay. So let's see if we find them. Let me break these apart. Okay. Some of these names are very similar. Hahaya and Lauvia. Where's Lauvia? Will I find Lauvia? Oh, there we go. All right. So, here comes Hershey again. What's up, Hershey? What do you want? What's he doing? Come say hi. All right. There's our tail beating. All right. So we got these two, Lauvia. These are cherubim. Is this the right one? Yeah. So the exalted God and victory grants victory and protection from lightning. Okay. Now remember, these are supposed to be the machines, but so far it has a torch and a sword. You know, I could assign all kinds of characteristics arbitrarily. Say, yeah, you know, a torch is, you know, it's got light. It can shoot fire like a flamethrower, and the sword, you know, some kind of like projectile weapon, like shoots arrows or blades or whatever. I could say that if I want to, but it, you know, may not hold up. Then we have Hahaya, God the refuge, and refuge governs dreams and reveals mysteries hidden from mortals. And it also has a sword, and is that a I mean, what the heck is that? Also has a mask on. His mouth is covered. And there's something interesting in that picture there. I don't know what that is. That image of a person, maybe a woman. Looks like a woman. I don't know. Okay. So let's go back to the angels. These are supposed to be persons. Let's see what we got. So we're angels. We got Demabia, Manakel, Ayaya, Habuhia. How many more angels are left? You got 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 of them left. All right. So next one is Rochelle. Oh, actually this says Reochaya. That doesn't even make any sense. Reochaya. I mean, I would say Rochel, but that's what the pronunciation key says. But I'm going to say Rochel. That's a little bit simpler. Reochel? Reochel? I don't know. Okay. Psalm 16:5. The Lord is the portion of mine inheritance and of my cup. Thou maintaineth my lot. All right. So, and then the other angel is Yabimia, and Genesis 1:1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Okay, so we're looking for Rochel and Yabimia. Rochel and Yabimia. So where is Rochel and Yabimia? Rochel and Yabimia. Rochel and Yabimia, where are you? And after I'm done with these other cherubims and an angel or cherubim, cherubs. Oh, there we go. There's Rochel. And see if we find Yabimia. And these are angels, right? So these should be be more like persons than machines. But so far, there's nothing really to me so far. I mean, I haven't looked at this. Is my first foray into this. Of course, Mr. Mauro Biglino was the one who did this research, and so here we go. But these are angels. So here's Rochel, and it says God seeing everything, and restitution finds stolen objects and discovers the person responsible. I don't know what's going on there, but that's interesting. This person clinging to them. Okay, and then this is Yabimia, Word of God creating all. Alchemy and transformation, rules natural events, helps with spiritual progress. Wait a minute. Yeah, these are the angels. That's interesting. So what we got there? I don't know. All right. Well. Okay. Back to cherubim. Okay, so now we're at Lezalel and Mebachel. So Lezalel and Mebachel. And Lezalel is the God sung above all. Psalm 98:4. Make a joyful noise unto the Lord, all the earth. Make a loud noise, and rejoice, and sing praise. And Mebahel, God the protector and savior, Psalm 9:10. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. So, Bezalel and Mebahel. Bezalel and Mebahel, cherubim. Bezalel and Mebahel. These are the cherubim. Supposed to be more like machines. And again, so far, nothing I'm seeing pops out really strongly enforcing that, except as in the descriptions, I was more convinced of that. But these are also, I mean, these are tarot cards made to try to fit a certain thing, but there is information in all of this, and so I find it very useful that I have these as I'm doing this research, because a lot of this stuff, the really important stuff in life, you know, especially where people are betting their eternal salvation and their souls on this stuff. And how come I haven't found it? How did I overlook Mebahel, Bezalel? Okay, well, there's Mebahel right there. And Bezalel, it's got to be in the other stack maybe, right? And I know that also, I feel like the reason why these stuck out for me, there we go, there's Bezalel. Because there's something in here I need to figure out. So this is the cherub, God sung above all, loyalty and allegiance, friendship and reconciliation. This is Bezalel. There's also, at the top here, there's tarot card correspondences, Page of Pentacles. So there's going to be some interesting research going on here that I can get deeper in. And then there's Mebahel, which is God, protector, and savior. Why is it holding a head? Truth and justice, protection from enemies who would steal one's fortune. It's a crazy picture. But hey, it comes from the Bible, so, or at least that kind of lore from the religions, which is some hardcore stuff. It really is. It really is amazing. Okay, so we're going back to the angels. I'm going to finish this up here because we've already got 6 angels and 6 cherubim, and I believe there might be just 8 altogether. I'd like to get this done. We're already rolling up on an hour and 20 minutes here, but I'm doing some live research, some just follow up from the book. Okay, so now we have the last 2 are going to be Hayayel and Mumia. Hayayel and Mumia. And Hayayel is God, Master of the Universe. Psalm 109:30. I will greatly praise the Lord with my mouth. Yea, I will praise him among the multitude. And Mumia, God, the end of the universe. Psalm 116:7. Return unto thy rest, O my soul, for the Lord hath dealt bountifully with thee. For the Lord hath dealt bountifully with thee. Return to thy rest, O my soul, for the Lord hath dealt bountifully with thee. That's Hayayel and Mumia. Hayayel and Mumia. Let's see, are they in here? So, Hayayel and Mumia. Almost there. Almost there. There we go. There's Hayayel. Now, that's the Master of the Universe, and we're looking for Mumia. Mumia's got to be somewhere in here. Almost there. Okay, it's in the other stack. all these archangels here. I'm gonna set those guys aside eventually. So now we got some cool stuff to research. It's gonna be fun, especially looking at all these demons and stuff like that. Which, you know, there's some really interesting stuff about demons. I mean, them being all really just deities from other religions. I mean, so here we have Hayaya, which is God, Master of the Universe, Divine Warrior, confounds the wicked, brings victory and peace. And that's holding a lyre, which is shown in red there. So interesting. And that is the angels, the second to last of the angels that I have, and then Mumia, God, the end of the universe. Endings and rebirth influences health and longevity, and it's an angel sitting on top of an hourglass. So, interesting imagery. Now this should be the last of the cherubim, and I will close this little preliminary research here that I'm following up on this stuff. Okay, so we got seraphim, we got the cherubim, Nebahel. Okay, so let's see. Wow, there's a little bit of an interesting typo here. And good, so these are the last two rows, so they got 8 of each. Okay. So we have Hariel and Hakamia. Hakamaya. Hakamaya. It's me, Hakim. Hariel, the comforting God. Psalm 94:22. But the Lord is my defense, and my God is the rock of my refuge. The comforting God, cherubim, and Hakamaya, the raising God. Psalm 88:2. O Lord God of my salvation, I have cried day and night before thee. So Hariel and Hakamaya. Hariel and Hakamaya, the last two of the cherubim, supposed to be machines. Wait, before I forget. Yeah, Hariel and Hakamaya. Okay, there's Hariel. And no luck that Hakamaya would be in the same stack. It's funny that they've all been in different stacks. I'm going to put these archangels aside while I got them there. I'm going to be looking at that later. Some significance. And there's Hakamaya. Alright. So now, you can put all these back in the box. Now that I've got the cherubim and the angel separated and the archangel separated. I'm going to see what those are at another time. I feel like that's going to come up later for me in some research that I'm doing. So Hariel, the comforting God, purification, protection from the impious religious sentiments. And that's Hariel. There's all kind of cool symbols and stuff on there. And I'll go into the cherub and then Hakamaya, the raising God. Loyalty, delivery from those who seek to oppress, brings victory. All right, well that's it. So later I'm going to be doing some stuff with these archangels, Samael, Gabriel. That's the one from the Quran who supposedly told Muhammad to write down stuff. Hanael, Uriel, Michael, and Metatron. Should be interesting. Let's see. what comes of that. Well, so, what I did was I looked to see if I could find any correspondences with the cherubim being more machine-like and the angels being more like people. Some things, mostly it was found in the descriptions of them given in the other book that I looked at, which was Gustav Davidson's A Dictionary of Angels from 1967, including the fallen angels. And the only other thing I had was from Mauro Biglino, which I got from The Gods Never Left Us. So that's it, and I'll figure out what I'm gonna title this in a little while, but no editing.